Hi guys, and welcome back to the Aspiring Home Cook. My name is Trisha, and in today's video I'm going to share with you my recipe for jalapeno cornbread, just like I promised in my previous video. This is a quick, simple and absolutely fantastic recipe. It comes together so quickly. I actually whipped this up while I was making my vegan chili. So let's get started with the recipe, shall we? Now, just as the name suggests, today's jalapeno cornbread is going to start off with one fresh jalapeno. I've left the seeds and the inner white membrane, everything in, and I'm just going to start off by chopping this jalapeno down. Now this still doesn't turn out too spicy, so if you'd like to spice it up a little, feel free to add another jalapeno to the recipe. Now since this is a plant-based cornbread, I'm going to use a flax egg in today's recipe. All I'm doing is taking 1 tablespoon of ground flaxmeal, just flax seeds that I've ground up in my dry grinder. And to this, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of water at room temperature. Stir this up well, and I would recommend just popping this in the fridge for about 5 to 10 minutes till it thickens and congeals and becomes a more egg-like consistency. Like you can see, it's really drippy here, but this will thicken up considerably. In the meanwhile, we can start prepping our other ingredients. Now for today's cornbread, I'm using polenta. You'll be hard-pressed to find cornmeal locally here in Sydney, but this polenta works really well. I've picked this up at my local Woolies, but I'm sure most major supermarkets will have some version of this or the other. We're going to start off using 1 cup of polenta. To this, I'm going to add 1 cup of all-purpose flour or plain flour, half a teaspoon salt, or you can use salt to taste, 1.5 teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of soda bicarb or baking soda. Now these are our dry ingredients all sorted. I'm going to give this a little bit of a whisk to make sure that all these dry ingredients are thoroughly mixed up. And to this mix, we're going to add our chopped jalapenos. I'm also going to start adding in our wet ingredients now. I've got 3/4 of a cup of plant milk here. You can use any plant milk of your choice. You'll need somewhere between 3/4 to 1 cup of milk. Start off with 3/4 of a cup and you can add more as needed. Now here's what our flax egg looks like. Like you can see, it has thickened up really well and started congealing and changed from that runny consistency to a more egg-like consistency that's typical of flax meal when mixed with water. We're also going to use a tiny bit of sweetener to balance everything out. Cornbread is ideally a little bit on the sweeter side, so I'm adding 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. You can also substitute this with a little sugar, maybe a tablespoon or so of sugar, because sugar tends to be a little sweeter. That's if you don't have access to maple syrup. I've mixed that up with our plant-based milk and I'm adding that to our dry ingredients. Now into the bowl goes our flax egg, and we're going to whisk this thoroughly until everything has combined well. Now, like you can see here, this consistency is a little on the dry side. That's how I know I'm going to need a little more milk. So I'm going to add about another 1/4 cup of milk to this mix, and you'll start noticing a big difference in the mix. I'm going to whisk in that extra milk. Now, depending on the flour and the cornmeal or polenta you're using, you may need a little on the less side or a little more than the 1 cup of milk that I've recommended here. So just go by what you see in the bowl and the overall feel of that mix. I'm just going to switch that out to a spatula now so that I can just stir everything in, make sure it's all well distributed, and scrape the bowl down as well. Now, like you can see here, it's a fairly moist consistency. Now, this is a consistency I'm happy with, and that's what you're looking for this cornbread. To bake my cornbread today, I'm using an 8-inch square baking dish, and I'm just going to lightly grease this by using a little bit of oil just to make sure that I can get that cornbread out of the dish easily once it's baked. Make sure that you grease the sides of the dish as well. And you're ready to pour your cornbread mix into your baking dish. Spread that mix evenly so that it goes right down to the corners of the dish and smooth any rough edges over. This doesn't need to be perfect, you're just trying to somewhat level it down. Now this goes into an oven that's preheated at 180 degrees, and we're going to bake it for about 20 minutes or till a toothpick that's pierced in the center comes out clean. Now those 20 minutes have passed. I can see that this cornbread is ready. I've already done the toothpick test, but I'm going to do it once again just to show you. It's clear, there's no crumbs, there's no tackiness once it's pierced through the center. That's how I know my cornbread is done, and it's got a beautiful light golden color on the top. Now we're going to set this aside, and as hard as that might be to do, we have to let this cool a little bit before it's ready to cut into. Once the cornbread has cooled down a little, I start by running the edge of my knife just all the way around to make sure that it has separated or come away from that baking dish, and that'll make it easier to take out of the pan. And then you're ready to cut it into pieces. Now technically I should have waited a little bit longer, but I couldn't wait to cut into this and show you what the insides look like. I usually cut something like this into about 9 pieces, but again, that's completely a matter of preference. Just cut them into pieces the size that you prefer and carefully take that out of the pan. Now, usually the first piece is the hardest, but once you get that first piece out, the rest of it should come away pretty easily. Now, I'm just going to use a spoon to help me get into it. Wait for it. There you go, guys. That's what the inside looks like. It's beautiful, it's fluffy, it's packed full of flavor and speckled with those little jalapeno pieces. And I cannot tell you how tasty this is. We enjoy having a little piece of it while it's still warm out of the oven, slathered with some butter, and it is divine. But this time around, I've made this specifically to serve with my vegan chili. Now, if you haven't seen that recipe yet, I am going to leave a link to the vegan chili video here for you so that you can go ahead and make a bowl full of this delicious goodness yourself and check out how good it is. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's quick and easy jalapeno cornbread recipe. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with family and friends. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and click on that bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you really soon with another delicious recipe. So till then, take care. Bye.